this is my favorite question. This is one of my favorite questions to ask dancers. And so,
Okay.
where did the Nance name come from? Like, give us the Wonder lore.
Oh man.
Um, because I feel like everybody is different to an extent, and then similar to an extent. So
Uh,
I want to know what your lore is.
sure. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it's anything magical, but it's uh, it's a name that I guess was suggested or brought up by old dancers that don't
Yeah.
dance anymore. That was when I was barely learning and understanding dance in general.
Mm-hmm.
I was under the wing of Pablo Cruz. I know back then when him and Shadows battled, he was going by Squid.
Yeah.
It was Kevin. He went by THC, and Tommy. I mean, Tommy's still around. I just saw him last night. So
Yeah.
they were all just trying to like they were all getting excited about the dance thing because we were all learning about it, and they were just trying to come up names with everybody, and then I don't know, they were just drawing like pictures on a notebook, and
Yeah.
for some reason they're huh, Mark, your name, it should be like Boy Wonder because like you be jumping and doing all these crazy things, rolling around on the ground, like you're like a
Yeah.
superhero. We're, I think you should go by Wonder, and then it just clicked for everybody. Everybody was just like Wonder, 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 and then
Mm-hmm.
I guess it just poured out to the dance scene because going to different events, I didn't expect nobody to call me Wonder, but I guess it just
Mm-hmm.
stuck because it's what I used, Tenture.
Yeah.
So that's really weird
Interesting.
from friends.
Yeah. So you were already an acrobatic dancer back then. It wasn't something that kind of came about after you became more proficient in popping and everything.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I was really athletic. Like in middle school and high school, I was doing soccer, football, track. So I already had that athletic element.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess dancing, I was
Yeah.
just trying to understand like, bro, what's my rhythm? What's my feel?
Yeah.
Um, and I guess, having that athleticism in conjunction with how I want to move or how I perceive to move, it just kind of
Mm-hmm.
elevated that feel for me. Um,
Yep.
so yeah, I guess I had that a little bit, I guess, before dancing.
Yeah. So then, why? I guess. Well, I would like to ask why popping, but I feel like it's one of those things where if it was what you and your friends were doing, it was probably just like this is what we were doing and this is what you gravitated towards. But like, I guess the question is why popping? Why not breaking? Why not something else? Like, why not house or anything like that? Like, why popping?
Well, I started out as like a choreo kid. I don't know if you know that.
Really? That's lore. That's deep. That sounds like a deep cut. Wait a minute.
Yeah, because then so I was at Plano East for part of 10th, part of 11th grade, or not, yeah, my junior year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and Taj wasn't there anymore, but the club that he created while he was there during his time was still there, which
Mm-hmm.
you know what it is,
Yep.
dancing for cause.
Yep.
And joined it. I met a lot of cool people like Beth and a lot of b-boys, and yeah, I liked it. I felt like it was my kind of people. We were all, joking, having fun, listening to music we like, and moving to it. Uh, we prepared for pep rallies. We did events at UTD as well. Like we performed over that. Um, and that's what I did like during that time frame, while at the same time, 'cause I moved a lot as a child with family, like staying with different people. So uh, part of growing up was also in Richardson. That's how I got to meet, you know, Hampton, Darlisha, and RC, all of them. So I got exposure to a lot of the poppers in our scene. And I don't know, I guess I just really fell in love with the way they just had like a certain energy to them, like a certain feel. And I just kind of wanted to harness that. I really liked the the vibe that they were putting off and like the artistic movement that they were giving. So I really like how creative and out of the box they are. But at the same time, I felt myself like, well, I like how they approach things, but I could probably never move like they can. Um, and then that's during that time frame, I also ran into what used to be Down to Funk because it's no longer a crew anymore. It got disbanded. Um, and in this crew, there was Nemesis, Camo, Shadows, Santino, myself, Steps, and Jason. I'm sure there were others, but I just really like that everybody was concentrated on the different elements of popping. I felt like there was more structure, uh, and it wasn't an easy style to learn. So the challenge of maintaining a pocket while trying to contract your muscles and have dance and rhythm at the same time, I loved it. Fell in love with it. So for me, that's why popping was my route, and haven't stopped pursuing it. So yeah, yeah, I love popping, man.
And okay, so then, so I was going through some of your dance videos because I had to obviously brush up on this.
Okay,
And brother, you move fast.
I
You
do.
move very fast. And so, how do you, I guess, how do you start that? How do you, for someone who's listening, who's maybe like getting into popping or who's new, who's a beginner, maybe they're an intermediate person now, but moving with such clarity plus speed, and then you add in your own layer of you do a freaking front forward roll out of a tut into a tut. I will never forget that as long as I live now. Um, so where does that start? Where does that start for like how do you lab that? How do you work on that? How do you get to that?
Well, that's funny that you say like you notice that I'm fast because that's I
Mm-hmm.
feel like one of my like weaker points, and this is just from constructive criticism between my close poppin' friends and our crew. Um,
Mm-hmm.
for the past 10 years, they've
Mm-hmm.
always just said, hey, you should slow down, take your time, you
Yep.
move fast. And yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that because I do feel like I move very fast, especially when
Mm-hmm.
you're in the moment of battling. You just get that like hype feeling
Yep.
and you're ready to kill it, but it's too much energy. So you need to
Yep.
ramp down a little bit. Um, yeah, that's really funny that you noticed that. But in regards to like the way I train, the way I approach, I guess my perception of popping, I started out tutting, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching, Hampton and Shadows the way they wave, or John Doe the way he waved. 'Cause
Mm-hmm.
I took a lot from him too, because he actually took the time to come to my place, introduce himself to me. I was like, I don't know who this guy is,
Yep.
uh, but because he heard that I was a tutter in Dallas, and so that's how we connected.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that he was a very strong waver, and had been doing it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then he shed light on who Diverse is, which I'm guessing was uh, his rival back then
Yeah.
in Dallas. So watching Diverse, I could see a lot of that popping influence. So yeah, man. So taking those elements of waving, tutting,
Mm-hmm.
and then nowadays, like I didn't really look at it like that back then, but animating, being like kind of
Mm-hmm.
unrealistic and controlling, um, I feel like that's something that I try to work on now because I'm not very strong in that realm. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
my movement is focused on, tutting, like king tuts. I
Right.
used to be more granular with like my finger tuts and stuff, but
Yeah.
that's not like a thing that people can really focus on or pay attention to for too long. Which
Mm-hmm.
another one of my weak points and why I shouldn't move fast because people won't understand it. Or other
Fair.
dancers that are trying to learn will be a little bit confused
Fair.
or won't understand what direction I'm taking it. And so for them
Mm-hmm.
to kind of get inspired or take away from it, it would be too
Mm-hmm.
difficult.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say definitely just taking a lot of the time to just be squared up and just focus on my angles and tutting.
Yep.
A little bit of waves here and there in between. Um, growing my animation, and yeah, man, that's honestly what I try to work on for the time
Mhm.
being. And then alongside that, work what people should focus on, like level changes, speed changes, uh,
Right.
understanding music,
Mhm.
polyrhythms,
Yeah.
integrating it with your dance. Yeah, man, that's
Interesting.
that's how you live,
No, like so the only reason I noticed the speed is because I'm a fast person in general, and by that I mean my like when I dance, I'm very fast. When I do any sort of work, I'm very fast. The same exact constructive criticism you've gotten in the past is the exact ones that I've gotten in the past, both from my job and in the dance community from people who like I used to train with and everything. Because I would move very fast. I think there was a jukin session that we did one time, and it was me, MJG, Emma, Rishi, Canvas. I think Lil Black was there with a couple of other people, and he was like, you move very you move through everything very fast, like you're very like light on your feet." And in my head I was like, that sounds cool, but then when I look at my footage when I'm juking, I'm like, I don't look like the other jukers because I'm very light on my feet, and so I'm bouncing from step to step versus like flat foot, flat foot, flat foot, grounded, like,
man.
Avatar: The Last Airbender earth form, as opposed to Avatar: The Last Airbender like air form. Um, so I notice a lot when people are fast. I like yours because I like your speed because it is very understandable. At least to me, it's very comprehensible. Um, just like even with the videos I was looking at today, I was like, you see every hit, you see every line, you see every tut, you see every wave that goes from here to here to here. Your tracing's great, like all that stuff. So, but this is also like you've been doing it for so long. You're at that level to where you can show the detail with the speed. I know, when a lot of people come in, to your point, like when they get really hyped up and get really energetic, they lose a lot of the detail and they just get really muddy, really like just lose control in a sense because they're trying to go too fast, trying to hit up, like, their beat. More often than not, new people coming in are beat killers versus like patient people. So, but then you have the opposite of someone who's like just so patient, they hit nothing and then they just kind of like move through everything. And
Yeah, you're right.
um, yeah, no, that's why I really enjoy it. When you do dance, it's really fun to watch. Um,
Thanks, man. Yeah.
what So I guess, I've seen you in sessions, seen you like lab, seen you in battles. Like, I guess what is it about battling that you enjoy?
Man, I don't know. I think it's just whenever I was, coming up, I wasn't really
Mhm.
I wouldn't say it was like anything huge. I would say it was probably an event. Like
Mhm.
you probably heard of it before because people mention it. Lone
Yeah.
Star Massacre. That
Yep.
was the first time I think I've seen like West Coast poppers come to Texas and like get down
Mhm.
and battle against people not from their town. Uh,
Mhm.
just seeing how like delighted and how much passion they carried
Mhm.
in what they do, and then
Yeah.
more like inspiring all of us. Uh, I don't know. That I think that did it for me. I like the culture, the vibe. Everybody's chopping it up with everybody. Everybody's battling, getting each other's faces, but it's all amicable. Like there's no bad
Mhm.
blood. Um, and I like that space. I felt comfortable in it, and it made me
Yeah.
want to be part of it. Um, so seeing that for the first time, I think just left a really big impact on me,
Mhm.
and I carry that with me, even
Yeah.
at the sessions that we host now at Momentum Mondays.
Mhm.
I always try to release some of that energy or imprint that on the people that are there.
Mhm.
Like they get that vibe, they get that feel, they understand what it's like to be around poppers. Because I feel like that's what I felt when I was in Chicago too. People just
Mm.
hungry, but also having fun and vibing, and
Yeah.
connecting, getting to know each other. Um, yeah,
How was Chicago?
it was really fun, bro.
Yeah.
Had a lot of new people I've never met before. I've seen some familiar faces. That was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wish I would have made it past prelims.
Yeah, yeah. That's always the feeling. Always the feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get any of the ciphers or anything?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I was getting in both days. So prelim
Mm-hmm.
day, I was in there. I was getting down with Rampage, and obviously me and Zenny were there. I saw Alvin, Rio. It was a bunch of people there. A
Yeah.
lot of white cats, Florida cats.
Yeah.
Uh, it was nice because it's so nice to see other poppers do
Mm-hmm.
their thing with the influences that they take from their cities or from their
Yeah.
communities, and that's just exciting to see.
Mm-hmm.
It was a whole different feeling. But Chicago has a dope community. I love it.
Yeah. How do you So what you said there actually sticks with me a lot. You said it's really nice to see other dancers do what they're doing with the influences from their city, and that's a very community based thought when it comes to when you're at a battle or when you're like around anybody, right? You're like, oh, this person's just cool for what they're doing. Like that's really just it. That's really the crux of the matter. Um, I've had my own issues in the past of I only really knew the Dallas dance scene, and I came in what I felt like was late because I came in college as like a college student because I'm from Paris, Texas. Like I'm not from anywhere that anybody that actually dances, and it was so I don't know. It felt like every single time I was at a session, I had to like prove something to someone watching or somebody who'd already seen me in the past. I have to prove to them that I'm better, or somebody new that I have to prove to them I'm good. And then I took that like need to prove to battles, and I could never really enjoy battles because I was like, well, didn't make it past prelims. I suck, and then just go somewhere else. And it was really hard for me to, I guess, open up in that sense of like, I'm here to just to enjoy dance. I'm here to see other people do their thing. I'm here to see other people, from other cities and towns do their thing. It was much easier for me not to join the battle and then stay for the entire thing versus join the battle and then be that guy who leaves because he didn't make it past prelims. I've done that myself in the past, and it's the worst feeling ever. Also having left,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it does suck when you don't make it past prelims and you hear songs that a DJ plays. You're like, oh, I would have loved to go to that, like hit that right now. I'm itching to hit that round right now. Um, but then it also sucks to leave and then see everybody's videos on socials of like that looks like fun, that looks like fun, that would have been great to be there.
yeah.
um so like where did this sense of camaraderie and community kind of come from? Was it from like your early days? Was it something that you kind of manifested? um
I would say both. Um,
mhm,
Definitely from my early days, and I think it was because we all have our own little experiences and traumas and stuff growing up.
mhm,
And I wouldn't say I'm super close to my family, just like a few of my siblings.
mhm,
So looking for connection and bond for me was like subconsciously I wanted it so bad, but I didn't
mhm,
really know it growing up
right,
because I was just focused on like dance, things I want to do, dreams I
yeah,
have. So whenever I was getting down with people back then, um, I feel like I really built a strong bond with Hampton because
mhm,
I mean at the time, uh, he was a young dad. Him and Darlisha and RC were always hanging out together, and just seeing
mhm,
the bond that they had, I was like, oh, they're like a little village hidden in the leaves,
yep,
like crazy. Because back then they were they're sick, wicked, and twisted. That was their thing. Uh,
mhm,
until they grew out of that, of course. Um, and then just seeing them have that and me build that with the people back then, I was just like, this is nice. Having a crew, having a circle of people that have, similar interests uh, and goals. And I always wanted that, like
yeah,
long. And so when, things didn't work out with Squid or THC, and when things didn't work out with Down with Funk, I was
mhm,
like, man, I don't even know if I want to continue, you know, popping or
Right.
dancing. I was in the military too. I was away, so like
Mm,
all the more to make you feel like, yeah, dude, like you're out of it. Like there's no place for you in it, and there's no motivation.
mm,
But I still found myself moving, dancing, because that I don't know, for me that will never go away. I'll
right,
probably be an old man still dancing.
right.
So when I came back, I want to say it's what 3 years ago now.
Mhm,
I got out December of 2023, so I probably
mhm.
didn't start getting active until 2024, like the beginning of
Yeah,
2024. So
yeah.
literally like a year and some change. I've been actually trying to integrate back, connect with all the new faces and old faces here in Dallas. And so everything that came about with Flow Roots now, like, happened naturally. We didn't want to put
Mm,
a label on it, like either, we click or we don't, and
yep.
so getting to talk to Shadows, Rift, Jason, MJG, like it's nice because
Mhm.
Shadows is a dad, MJG is a dad. We all have children.
Yep.
Jason, he's maturing now. He's because we're getting in our early 30s. So
Yeah, yeah, it's that your brain starts forming up a little bit, you're becoming the person who you're meant to be. Yep,
yeah, and then
yep.
Rift, he's just been doing it for the
Mhm.
past. How long has it been that he's been putting you know his name out in the game? Like what,
Yep.
5 to 10 years? And I remember when he started, he wasn't like a strong popper or anything. Um,
Mhm,
and that's very inspiring to me because that's what I wanted to also achieve. Uh,
mhm,
there was a short point in time where I was like, oh, I'm going to keep going to events because that's what I was doing. And
mhm,
so, not that I really cared for the notoriety or the popularity. And, social media was big, but it wasn't really something that I really thought about.
mhm.
I just really liked the community and the vibe and the bonds that I was building. Like when I see Cosmic or I see, people from Houston, like when I see AP or Aaron, like there's like a sense
Yeah.
of camaraderie. Like, hey, bro, like we're all Texas poppers. Like, you know what I mean? Like we gotta watch out for each other. Like I
Mhm,
like that. Like I feel like I have that, and if I can continue building that with other
mm,
like-minded people, I just feel like I have like a whole, you know, armada, a whole connection to a lot of people to go out and do things or meet or, you know, just to enjoy the
right,
realm and
right.
dance. Um,
I like that,
yeah.
I like that.
I-
No, that's cool. Cause like, I feel like that begs the question of who we all have our, like, healthy rivals in a sense, or people, like, we love to spar against, or we kinda, like, measure ourselves up to every now and then. Do you have people like that in the community that you're like, I see this person as, like, me and him are just trying to make each other better, right? He's the Vegeta to my Goku, the Sasuke to my Naruto, with except for trying to kill me all the time. Like they're the people who are trying to push me to be better and while getting better themselves. Are there people like that for you?
I mean, yeah, I would say that, with that has to be people that are on par with you, you know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
I wouldn't say Rift I would be on par with.
Mm.
He's dug so deep,
Mhm.
and has learned from a lot of other people that I feel like he's lengths beyond me. But
Mhm.
for me, I would say it's either Jason and last night, based off last night, Tommy. Just
Got
because
me.
those two I've been around since I actually started getting into popping,
Yeah.
and those two have continued to continue
Mhm.
dance and get better. So
Mhm.
those two would probably be my, let's go at it again and again and again. Like I told
Mhm.
Top at round two, and he agreed. Like, let's go.
Yeah. Nice. I love those. I love when you're just like, okay, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, even at a session. I remember the ones we used to have at UTD where, you would think that we're just automatically supposed to gather up in a circle and everybody go one by one. But every now and then you see people on the side going like a one-on-one at it. And I'm like, what are they doing? Why are they not like part of the cipher? But then when I was in one of those one-on-ones, I was like, I get it.
Yep.
I get it. Like you just want to keep going. You don't want to hit a 30, 45 second round and then hop out and then not go back in for another like 2 songs. Like you just wanna fucking go. You're here to session.
Yes.
I get that. That's dope. That's dope. I so every now and then, because I know that there are more people in the community who know you than just me. And so sometimes I do ask, like, what would you like to know about Wonder? So I asked a group of friends. Is there a question you're burning to ask Wonder? And I have a couple I want to ask you. So these are
Okay.
our viewer questions for you.
Cool.
We're gonna start with a really easy one. What are your top 3 desserts?
Top three desserts. Wow. Well, tres leches cake has to be number one.
Okay.
Number two, probably dark chocolate almonds. Love dark chocolate.
Okay.
And then number three, I would say like a chocolate chip cookie. Love chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
It's my thing.
It's a good list. It's a good list. My wife loves tres leches. I love chocolate. That's a great list. It's a great list. I can't even say anything. That I wanted to in some way clown you for any of those choices. I can't. I can't. They're all good. Um, there's a spot up here that my wife and I both agree that this is like the best chocolate we've ever had, and it doesn't taste like any of the chocolate. And it's like a local franchise chain called Handel's. Never seen it anywhere else in the States because it's only here in Pennsylvania. And I'm like, I don't want to leave only because I'll never be able to have Handel's again in my life. Either that or I'm getting that shit imported back into Texas if we ever move back.
Do that.
Um, it's crazy, bro. Okay, next one. So I know you saw at least the clip of Major.
Oh god, yeah.
so so the actual question posed to me was, how do you feel about Major being the best tutter in Dallas? But I'm gonna twist that around, and I'm gonna say, who do you think is the best tutter in Dallas?
For me, bro, it's always gonna be Shadows. Just cause,
Really?
yeah, cause I mean, his typing isn't just your regular shapes and lines.
Mm-hmm.
He flows with
Yep.
different. It's always like, and it comes from his strong approach in popping.
Yeah.
But that isn't its only strong suit since
Yeah.
we've all seen it. Like he uses different concepts with his tuts.
Mm-hmm.
While he tuts, it's either adding waves or patterns and
Yep.
then playing with the music. So hopping on different tempos and different rhythms and different sounds within the music that not your everyday dancer would pay attention to or pay that much
Mm-hmm.
focus to. Because he catches pretty crazy intricate parts
Yep.
of if you really pay attention. Um, but his setting is just always gonna is always gonna impress me. He's gonna always feel like, bro, that was the craziest run you've ever done. Every single time.
Mm-hmm. Every time.
Every single time, bro.
Yeah.
Every single time. I feel
Yeah.
that Shadows. So to me, yeah, Shadows is the best tutter to me. Um,
Nice.
at least in our
Nice.
hometown. Because I mean, there's
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
tutters out there, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
you've
There's
seen
some
them.
demons out there.
Yeah, there are out
100%.
there.
His no, like, have you ever asked him like what his approach is, in terms of like, or I guess how he catches or plays with those intricacies, like how he chooses when to go into some detailed play, hop back out into some standard big hits, like get the beat back, go back into the intricate play. Um, have you ever
um,
like talked to him about that?
like in terms of how like he has built his ear, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
really describes what he pays attention to in music. Like for him, it's like he always likes to touch on polyrhythms.
Mm,
But I think it also depends on the type of music he's listening to
yeah.
and the feeling that it gives you. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of, I guess, trying to build that intricacy or that ear, to me, you have to have that it factor, right? Like
Mm,
you just have to have it, bro. Either
yep.
you got it or you don't.
Fair.
There's that. But there's also people that do build that skill, right? But that
Mm-hmm.
takes years and a lot of
Yeah.
dedication, hours and minutes and seconds of getting that down. And music's ever changing, bro. So
Mhm.
you could probably build a reference point for yourself, like a frame of reference in regards to music, because it is it's quantifiable. You can count it,
Yep.
uh, but there's always new music coming out, and there's new DJs and producers creating new popping tracks like
Mhm.
every other week. So it's never going to be the same. So I think it's just that hit factor. To me, there's something magical about it,
Right.
when it comes to dancers like Shadows, because Rift has an ear.
Yep.
You've seen MT Pop doing his thing out there. He has an ear.
Crazy
Uh,
year.
People have ears, like
Yep.
literally, they have crazy uh,
Yeah.
awareness.
Controversial statement, but people do have ears. Yes.
Have ears, bro. So yeah, yeah. To me, he can
Interesting.
explain what he does or how he approaches things all day, but
Mhm.
either you hunker down and you really dive deep and you change your brain to be that way, or you just have it.
Mhm.
That's just my opinion on it.
Mm. Do you do you feel like, well, I'm not gonna assume, do you like listening to more Latin-based music, which I thought I get on, like salsa, like all those other like types of sounds? Do you listen to those as
Yeah,
well?
yeah,
So do you feel like that style of music helps you has helped like give you more diverse like type of ear when you then listen to like popping music or more, music when we battle, like listening for different things that aren't just the standard boom bap?
yeah, definitely. I mean, growing up, my brother Christian always like listening to trap and like
Mhm.
hip hop music. So a lot of the hi hats and 808s and all that stuff that you hear nowadays, and the next waves.
Mhm.
I guess I've kind of gotten used to, and I'm familiar with that.
Yeah.
Um, Even with like perreo and reggaeton, like especially with Bad Bunny and like all the people that he's been around, they also make trap music.
Right.
But obviously it's Latino trap, and it's obviously not the same as your, American counterpart. Uh,
Mhm.
but they do use kind of the same sounds,
Yeah.
along with their Puerto Rican or other Hispanic influences.
Mhm.
Like his most recent album, like he does like plena, bomba, salsa, like all those
Mhm.
different tastes and flavors, like they definitely help me.
Yeah.
Like I even like listen, like so on SoundCloud, I'll hop on and listen to whatever. Like
Yeah.
there's a few like Afro influence tracks that I like to get down to, and it
Mhm.
has some house or uh, like hip hop you know taste to it as well, and like it's all like mixed, and I like it. I like it when
Mhm.
you can play with music and take different elements and make it sound good, because it doesn't always
Yeah.
work together. But if you can make it make you move, then it's gonna help you. It's gonna help you build, that. Oh, okay. There's this sound. There's this pattern. There's this movement. Let me move to that. Let me practice to that,
Mhm.
and it just builds your arsenal.
Yeah. Dude,
Doesn't matter what style you're doing either. So
that's fair. That's fair. I think that's fair. Um, like training to different, not necessarily training, but just like dancing to different styles of music for sure, like plays a part. I do the same thing with Indian music 24/7 now. I remember back to like I don't even like dancing to non-Indian music. It's actually pretty bad. I really need to start dancing to more English music just so I can like actually get it back.
yeah,
But that Hindi pop, bro, that indie pop goes so hard. Um, there were a couple of times when back in the day when we'd be sessioning and Canvas is usually on the speaker because God forbid I get on the speaker, that'd be awful. And he would he would be like, okay, so I'm gonna give you a challenge, and brother plays a house track, and I kid you not, in my roughly 3 to 4 years of it being in the scene and trying to train freestyle and trying to train either my juking or my popping or my patience or my waving or whatever it was, no tracks made me as uncomfortable to dance to as house.
really, wow.
I could not get it because I think it was the influence of I didn't. feel confident and comfortable in moving the way I wanted to it, I kept thinking, "I have to move my feet. I have to hit a house beat. I have to hit, like, a farmer's hop. I have to hit, like, all these, like I have to hit the jack or whatever it is, like, I have to hit all these things, because he's playing a house track." But I never let myself just be like, "You know what? Yo, juke to this house track right now." Like, I never let myself get to that point.
Yeah,
With every other style of music, I would have done that. Yo, juk I juke to anything. I juke to Hindi music. You don't get juke to Hindi music. I juke to Hindi music. I guess just how it works. But house, like, it just flips a switch, and I'm like, "I don't know what I'm doing."
wow.
Um, like, even I think to the extent, like, yeah, Afro beats, dance hall, like, like, anything within that, like, house umbrella, it always freaked me out. And I was like, "I don't know how to do this." Ah, um but that was the only one. But, that stuff gets played at jams and sessions and things like that. And I'm like, "Okay, cool. We get out of this circle now." I had my fun inside. Imma get out of this circle. But that was the one. That was the one I couldn't conquer. I can conquer it now, I think. Probably because I'm so far removed from actually wanting to train and lab and I just wanna dance that I could probably just do whatever. But my stamina, awful. Absolutely awful. I have a bit of a deeper question. It's another viewer question, so this didn't come from my brain, and I wish it had, but it didn't.
Okay.
What is the most challenging internal conflict that you've had in your dance journey?
The most challenging internal conflict in my dance journey. Dang, that is a pretty deep question. I don't know if I would say I had any internal challenges. I think Jason asked me this question. You ever
Mhm.
have you ever felt nervous or like you get nervous feelings,
Yeah.
perform a
Mhm.
bunch of people. Uh, but I don't know. I guess I find a way to calm and just tunnel vision mode.
Mhm. Yep.
I wouldn't say I have, well, at least not in dancing.
Yeah.
Not in dancing, because dancing for me has always been an outlet, a place to get away,
Mm.
a fun place to be. It wasn't ever associated with any negative feelings, or it wasn't associated with a way to feel down about things.
Mhm.
Dance has always been uplifting. It's been my getaway
Yep.
mental space. Yeah, I wouldn't say I really have had internal challenges with dancing because I feel like internal challenges or issues that you have internally always have to do with you know your real life, like stuff that you
Mhm.
have to deal with on the daily. Not
Yep.
that I don't deal with dance daily because I do dance daily, but that's a lot deeper. And I don't know if I'm ready to tell that story
No, no, yeah,
yet.
that's completely fine. That's completely fine. It's and I mean, yo, God willing, you never have an internal conflict with your dance journey because I feel like you said, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be a safe space and escape. And if you
Yeah,
have to deal with shit in your personal life, then you have to deal with shit in your dance life. Like, where are you gonna go at that point? Like, what are you gonna do at that point? Um, so that's nice. That's actually refreshing to hear. Um, and once again, may you never wait. Do I have anything? I don't have any herbs on me. May you never have conflict in your dance journey. Um, nice, nice. Earlier we were talking a little bit about like wanting to go into like data science and AI. Do you have an interest in like the tech industry?
I do.
Like like for fear of sounding ignorant, would you call yourself a tech nerd of sorts?
No.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
I mean, just like anybody else that's learning.
Yeah. Just like a casual enthusiast.
For me, yeah, I'm an enthusiast for sure. Because
Mhm.
I wouldn't say I'm super well versed like some of my counterparts. I mean, I have people that I know that have been doing it since they were kids before high school.
Mm,
And
mhm.
because they did, school was easier for them. The projects
Mhm.
weren't that hard, and it got them a job. Like
Yeah.
for me, I didn't have those resources growing up, and I guess I was distracted as well.
Yep.
but in my time in the military, you know, a lot of that um, I probably sacrificed. Like finding something for me um,
Mhm.
had to come later because you know
Right.
I had my boy at a very young age, uh,
Mhm.
and then you know after having him, getting married, and then joining the military, it was a lot of stuff, and I had a lot of stuff to take care of, and that had to come first before
Mhm.
about myself because I was now responsible for uh, the love of my life
Right.
and my children. Um, but never did the motivation and want to pursue something or to continue doing what I love went away.
Mhm.
I would have regretted it. I would have looked back and yeah, I just would have regretted it. So
Yeah.
that's why I decided to pursue computer science because
Mhm.
I did have help from the city of Plano, and they gave me a little computer in our little
Mhm.
town-filled apartment.
Mhm. Heck yeah.
So I had access to like a lot of stuff, you know. And then
Yeah.
back then there wasn't a lot of security, there wasn't restrictions, so like you could use the computer however you wanted. Uh,
Mhm.
but that sucks for my uncles and my grandma and everyone that was taking care of me because they don't know what I was doing on there. But I
Mhm.
got exposed to a lot of stuff, so I think that stayed with me like into adulthood. And
Yeah.
so now that I know, oh wow, I can like download all these open source tools and pieces of software, and I can use them to create different programs or build on legacy systems, or I can reverse engineer tech and make it purposeful for other systems. You know, like there's
Mhm.
so many possibilities now. And now with AI breaking through,
Yep.
it's kind of crazy and it's
Yep.
exciting. So to me, it's like, okay, now I'm about to be done with school, and
Mhm.
I feel like this whole new phase and change is happening in the tech industry where I'm like, okay, this is a
Yeah.
good time to like, you know, learn this stuff, dive a little bit deeper in it. You know, and I know some Java, Python, C++. Well, what can I do with it now? You know,
Mhm.
but of course, you know, I want to jump in a career where I'm doing that stuff at
Yeah.
least to stay, you know, engaged in it. It's not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to be engaged with a family and a full time job that doesn't focus on that. Um,
Mhm.
but I'm trying to keep the dream alive, trying to pursue that. And so,
Oh, heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. You're you're gonna find what you love soon. I definitely believe that. Because you're putting in the work now. Um, AI is interesting. I for the sake of this conversation not going on too long, because I could talk about AI for hours. What do you think? I guess if you've thought about it, like, what's your most, I guess, interesting or like thing that you're most intrigued about when it comes to like new tech coming up or new, like what you want to see out of AI and things like that? Like, what would you say you're looking forward to?
well, for me, and I think this is just from my classes all updating in the past 2 years,
Mhm.
but a team, or I'm guessing for any company and any level of organization, a team dedicated to integrating AI. Because AI, you know, there you can have a million ideas on how to implement it, how to integrate it, how to use it in isolation to help something
Mhm.
else. Um, but we always have to stay cognizant of the fact that there is a slim possibility and statistic that things can go wrong. And so
Yeah.
you team of ethical scientists, I guess you would call them, um,
Mhm.
to kind of you know maintain the guardrails, to stay alert for things that aren't going well or aren't panning out like
Right.
they're supposed to. And I think that's part of my military speaking because you know we had to stay ready and we had to catch things early and
Mhm.
it can go wrong. Like the mission has to follow through and we gotta get it done and we gotta
Mhm.
keep each other accountable. Um,
Mhm.
so when I'm thinking about technology, it's already happening. I mean, Microsoft with their Majorana chip creating a
Yep.
new that's already that's reaching quantum possibilities, and we're getting there. And then Google
Mhm.
competing with Willow, those are just chips. You know, they're not even like they're just supposed to power and compute make things faster, solve problems that we probably couldn't solve um, in our lifetimes. So we need to have people that do the job that nobody wants to do to make
Yeah.
sure that whenever shit is about to hit the fan, we have caught it and we have preventative measures in place. Um,
Mhm.
to me, that's important because I
Mm.
think about you and your wife or our community here or in my family. You know, like at the end of the day, people and humans, they're the ones that keep things going. And you can
Right.
build as much as you want around or with AI. Like it doesn't change how we want to live life and how we
Mhm.
feel because we're a product of millions and millions and millions of years. So
Mhm.
we should
That's fair.
protect
That's
that.
fair.
That's important to me.
Yeah. No, yeah, we don't talk about that enough. 'Cause it's like, what's the next AI advancement? Oh, look, AI is making full on movies now, or like, I forgot
So
what
those
that,
social
y-
influencer video ones are crazy.
yeah, that's like, I've like making all of these like people having just complete faceless AI channels online and making money through that, and
Yeah, see, like
um,
people pay attention to that. They don't pay attention to like how it's helping in the agricultural industry. They don't pay
mhm,
attention how it's cleaning our oceans. They don't pay attention how like buildings are healing themselves. Like they don't think
yep,
about that stuff, bro. They think about,
yep,
oh, how's it gonna give me likes? How's it gonna give me followers? How's it
yeah,
gonna make me the next best video? How's it gonna make my job easier? Like, bro, y'all are using it for the wrong things, and that's
mhm, yeah. I was just telling Ayushi today that like, so I have seborrheic dermatitis on like my face and my hair, and so it's really frustrating. It's a ongoing thing. It's not like you're a cure for it. But I was telling her, I was like, I need AI to exponentially advance swiftly because I need AI to find a solution for this somehow, some way, some in some form.
more than
I also have Crohn's chronic condition. I was like, I need AI because at this point it would have to be in like a very very fast, very proficient AI system to be able to actually take these chronic conditions that we have when I think about the medical industry and figure out a potential solution to them that actually stops it versus just like lets you live with it over time and keeps it dormant and all those things, right? Like I have to get an every 8 week blood infusion for my Crohn's. I can't get off it because they don't have the data to get off for me to get off it. I have to wash my face really thoroughly, like really, really dig deep every 2 to 3 days. Otherwise, I'll get like flaky and all that stuff on my face and hair, and it itches and all bad shit. And I was like, I need AI to be faster in that sense. Like in that sense, I'm like, you know what, yo, advance as fast as you need to because these things are dope. To your point, having the ethical data scientists in place to say, these are really great advancements. We need to keep them going versus like, oh, look, this AI figured out how to cure cancer. We don't want that. We don't want that. Actually, turn that off. Turn that off. Rewind. 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 Make that thing dumber. We don't want that. We
yeah.
need we need these drugs to keep selling. Like that needs to keep going forward. In the same way that like, okay, cool, this AI is advancing too fast. It's starting to do things we don't like. Shut that off. Shut that off right now. That kind of thing. So, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. AI is tricky, but I love it. Like, do you use any of uh the large language models? Because
Like
I sometimes use GPT. I use Claude a little bit more, but do you use any of them?
um I've used them for like learning. So right
Mm,
now I'm learning in my full stack development 2 class. I'm
yeah.
basically having it read through AWS documents and kind of just highlighting the important parts for my use case in the project.
Mm,
And that's only been with ChatGPT. I
yeah.
have used Gemini. I know a lot of people like to use Claude, especially when they're coding, vibe
Yep.
coding.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I have used it. Definitely probably do some like writing, like emails.
Mhm.
But like I'm sending emails to my coworkers. I like to like, hey, can you format this in a certain way? And I want it to sound like this. Oh, and ensure
Mhm.
this type of grammar, and I want it to say this at the end. And then once it
Yeah.
does, then I can edit it myself and make it
Yeah.
sound more like me because it's always robotic. I don't like
Yep.
how
It's always robotic. There is I don't know if your use case falls into this, but there's this app that I've been using, and it only came out in the past year, and I think this year it went 1.0. It's called VoicePal, and so it's basically like a speech to text AI um, AI bot. And so basically, you say whatever you want it to spit out, and it will spit it out the way you want it to be said. And so, just for example, I read books and I like to write up book reviews, but my hands hurt, my wrists hurt. I can't be at a computer all the time. I hate typing in general, and I hate writing in general. I just like talking. So I'll just verbally garbage my mouth uh at my phone. It'll hear everything, and then it'll spit out a pretty clean like book review, or just a cleaned up version of what I said with all the run-ons and all the fillers and all that stuff. And then I can take that, like you said, and edit it and just start my editing process. Or I can say, take what I just said. Here's a sample of a book review that I've actually physically typed before. So it has my humor, has my tone, has my thing, and it can reformat it into like, okay, cool, this is a little bit more sounds like me. And I'm like, I like that. Because as somebody who doesn't like to type, but I like to make these things, I shouldn't be stopped by the fact that when I open up my Notion, my mind goes blank, right? Like I just like to like talk, and it works. I know that in the art community, AI is a very touchy subject,
Yeah,
100%, as it should be. But I think there's still within the community, there's like places where it can be helpful for people like me. Maybe not people who may be more creative than me, who make actual paid pieces, and their livelihood isn't art that then gets replaced by AI. But VoicePal is dope. VoicePal is dope. I like that. I like that one a lot. I use Claude and VoicePal mainly. Um,
nice. It's cool.
but one limitation I found with Claude, and it might be the same with GPT, is if you don't go for the paid version,
Uh-huh.
the free models are like time gated in terms of like because they're like their data sources are like up to a certain point in time. And so like I tried using Claude this year only. So I started asking it questions about YouTube and content, and like okay, so I was like, okay, well, if I want to talk about books, what are some upcoming book releases that are happening in March, April, and May? And it gave me books. I was like, I thought that already came out, and I went and looked it up. It came out last year. So then I typed it to Claude. I was like, what day is it today? And it was like February 19th, 2024. I was like, bro,
Crazy.
this and almost invalidates a lot of the stuff that I want to ask it because it's so specific to now. Um, then I'm like, no, I got paywalled. No. But it's still fun to use. Like I haven't yet because I'm a procrastinator.
Yeah, I
Um,
use I guess the full version. That's what I've been using. I don't
yeah.
pay for it because my school or OpenAI made it free for people that are in school. So I was like,
Oh
oh,
heck yeah.
but I think it ended like last day of May.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I like it. It
Yeah.
works. That's what it should. And it's kind of
I
cool because now I'm like a little jealous of the United Emirates because they made it legal or not legal. They
mm-hmm.
made it available to all their citizens. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not wait. That's actually dope.
That's crazy to me. I'm like,
Why aren't we doing that?
how are we behind?
Why are we doing that? I mean, at least pick one of them and make it available to everybody. Why aren't we doing that? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Um, I heard in the just through articles and podcasts and the grapevine that OpenAI might be trying to work on a physical product, and that's like centered around like its AI systems and everything. That'd be cool.
Like replacing our phones because that's
Potentially like a handheld, like a physical device that does a lot of the same things as it would if it was an app on your phone, but it's the device itself is also like centered around it. So maybe it's like depending on how comfortable you are in using it,
yeah,
as you use it, it's probably like learning a lot about you. It's formulating all of its like recommendations, feeds, calendar schedules, all that stuff. It's reminding you of things that you may have like typed to somebody else, like texted to somebody else. It's invasive to an extent, but in a similar way, it's like, well, I wish I would have remembered that thing that I told that person that I was going to do and I didn't. And
yeah.
now you have your AI assistant telling you to do that. Remember that thing you said you were going to do, but you forgot it. You forgot about it because You have too much going on. Well, I'm reminding you now. Like I personally would love to play with that stuff because I love playing with new tech. Um,
I love it.
I myself wear glasses, and so it's obviously duh. But there's a like the Ray-Ban Metas that came out in December or November. I really wanted to get one, and they didn't have like what I needed, so I couldn't get one. But I ended up finding a Kickstarter for one called Looktech. That is like in my opinion, is building a better product than Ray-Ban Meta, and so I backed that, and so hopefully it should be releasing and shipping this year.
Look into it.
Um,
I
but
would.
that thing, it's cool. Like these, like and the people are making so many interesting things.
Huh.
Um, but it's supposed to be like it's one of those where it's like the built-in AI, and there's a mic and a speaker. So I think the mics are maybe around the nose area, the speakers around this area, and so
Yeah.
you can ask it things, it can tell you things. There's cameras here, so you can like look at something and say, "Can you explain this to me?" or whatever it is. It can also record, but as it should be, there will be an indicator probably somewhere showing that, oh, this is a camera and this is recording, because there's no way you're getting by regulations of having like a hidden camera in your glasses. That's
Yeah.
scary as fuck.
I don't know if you saw somebody actually take advantage of it.
I saw a video. My only thing is, the one that I saw, I don't know if it was like staged to look bad of like, but yeah, there was a video where I saw a dude was talking to a woman, and a third party came over and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, like like you have a camera, it's on." Like what, like all these, like he was like basically calling him out on like your camera's on recording while you're talking to this person. But that's the only one that I saw. If that's what the one you're referring to.
One that I saw, this guy was able to reverse engineer them and then uh, built or plugged an API and then, machine talking to machine. And so when he was going around in a subway, I think it was in New York, and he walked up to this guy and was like, "Oh, hey, so and so," because like once he looked at the person,
Oh,
all their information popped up,
that's
and it was able to
crazy.
trick the person into believing like, "Oh yeah, I've met you before." Like that's crazy to me.
That's
That's the type of
crazy.
stuff where I'm like, okay, come on now. Like, how is this
Yeah.
young guy able to do that? And like, there's something obviously not
Hmm.
right.
Well, there's a I had a friend of mine who was telling me about this because he works for Oracle. He's also in computer science, and so he was saying like these API databases that like just have everybody's information just open are out there, like for free for people to download and access. So it's very easy to build something around that data because it's open access. And I'm like, that's freaky. I don't want to know about that. Don't tell me about that. That's weird. Why do you know about this? He's like, because I code. I go on to Reddit. Like, you see stories of people doing this. You go onto these websites and just check. Like, is this actually real? Oh yeah, there's just data. Everybody, it's just open right here, and it's crazy. Can't stop it now. It's there, but no, that situation is crazy. God forbid somebody ever comes up to me and says, "Hey, bro, remember we met last week?" I'll be like, "Bro, my memory is so bad that you probably want me to believe that I know you right now. And I'm telling you right now, I've never met you in my life."
Yeah, yeah. I'm the skeptical type, and I question everything. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. 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 I want to use like the LLMs more for learning like you've been doing. And because like there's so many times when I have a question that I just want to build the habit of like, let me just open up Claude and ask it the question that I have. Like my wife and I were watching The Pit, the show on like Max. Fire show, really good, really heavy, but really good. But I was like, they were saying certain things. I would ask her, what does this mean? She's like, I don't know. So in my head, I'm like, I could have just really quickly typed to Claude, like, what does this mean? I have the answer and now I know it. Which is like thinking like, what does this mean? Never asking it the question because I'm too lazy, and then never knowing. Um, so I want to use it for like actually learning things. I wanted to explain to me, how does an X-ray actually work end to end from the most basic level. How does an X-ray work to the most complicated medical level? explain to me an X-ray. Um, but that's like my mental cue of like, you're not being curious enough.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
haven't you haven't asked Claude how X-rays work yet. Remember, how does an X-ray work?
yeah.
Remember to be more curious.
That's something that me and my wife, so we like to watch the Diaries of the CEO.
Mm.
Uh,
Oh,
the
it's so good.
doctor uh, that was on there, and he talked about, or he was posed the question of what's your stance on AI, or what do you think about it,
Mhm.
good or bad? And he was like, I think it's doing a lot of great things, but the bad thing, well, what he was describing was like, you're not using your brain, and if you're not using
Mhm.
your brain, that's bad for your brain.
Yep.
And that just stuck with me. And I was just like, wow, this guy's right. And so like
Yep.
every day I ask myself, is this good for my brain?
Mhm. Fair.
So when
Fair.
I'm using AI, I'm like, okay,
Good
I'm using
question.
no brain power right now. Let's lock in. So the
Mhm.
AI goes away and I start Googling and
Yep.
diving into research papers or
Yep.
going to my resources. And yeah, it takes me longer and I'm probably getting tired, but I'm using my brain and that's good.
Mhm. Bro, I think people underestimate how great it feels to actually use your brain on something you're very interested in and you're actually learning what it is you're interested in. Um, really do enjoy video editing much more than I give myself credit for. Because when I make the videos I make, it's just a very simple edit. It gets exported and gets uploaded. It's very streamlined now, so it gets a bit boring. So there's times when I'll try and spice up the video by like doing just the most random, unnecessary things in the video, but I'm like, I want it. Like
Okay.
I want it like this. So I'm gonna try and make it like this. And I will spend 2 to 3 hours scouring YouTube and trying to figure out effects in the editing software. Like, how do I make this work? And then I get it to work. I'm like, I'm a genius.
Yeah, it's a good
I'm the
feeling.
smartest person in the world. And it's so satisfying. But then I'm like, okay, damn, I just spent like 3 hours doing that one thing. And I try and break myself away from that. You spend 3 hours learning, retaining, executing, and you enjoyed all 3 of those hours. And that's like 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. and like that's the beginning of the day when usually my brain is muddy and fogged up. So it's like, wow, crazy.
Dude, that's so funny because
It's
that's when in my first class when I started my degree, uh, there was no AI, there's no chat GPT, there wasn't like there was
mm-hmm.
just Stack Overflow and Reddit and
Mm-hmm.
you know forums that you could find where there's other
Yep.
people doing stuff. And and in my first class, I was building a banking app to
Mm-hmm.
basically calculate investments based on whatever you input off a
Mm-hmm.
percentage and just calculate it for people and build into an app. It's just a simple, easy setup for financial institutions. And when I was able to build it, uh, it felt so good. It felt really good. And that's probably
Yep.
the only reason why I continued learning everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can do it. I
Yep.
feel like if you're learning something and you prove to yourself that, oh, whoa, I can do this, and
Mm-hmm.
along with the good feeling, then it kind of like it just exponentially makes you feel good, and you're just growing and growing and growing.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful feeling, wonderful
Yep.
thing for you. Uh, yeah, man. So I kind of feel bad for all the people that are all the kids nowadays who have access to AI, but
Yeah.
there's no like manual or there's no guidance with it. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
here you go, figure it out. You know, that's
Yeah.
really what we're in the midst of right now.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like they're using it for the least rewarding things.
Yeah,
Get my homework done. That's what they're using it for. So they're not using it for like fulfilling intrigue or learning something new or developing a skill that they already have or that they want, like things like that, right? They're using it for I just need to get this homework done. They'll type this essay up for me. Like what does this math problem mean? Like just do this math problem for me. Which is like it sucks. But at the same time, that homework is also very boring. Having gone through that entire education system multiple times in my life, like it's also very mind numbing to do. So I would have also been in their place doing the same thing. How do I lessen the time that I'm doing this very boring, monotonous thing? That way I can go do something that I enjoy. But it does, I believe, in my opinion, it does stunt brain activity and brain growth at that age. Um, I do think about when I do have children, like how much tech do I want to involve into, how early, right? How much reliance should they have on it versus developing their own skills and learning how to use it versus, it like replace things for them. So like tech with the younger generation is very tricky,
It is.
given that we're learning it now
Yeah.
and then we're trying to teach it to the younger generation.
Yeah.
Versus at some point they're going to learn it and teach it to us, and we're going to do this the same thing that we do with our parents. They're going to do it to us, and it's going to be an entire cycle. There's actually, I wanted to tell you this. Okay, this will be the last thing, I promise. I know this is going on long. But
Bro.
there's I tried not to nerd out over this. I told you I tried. There's an investor that I follow, Anthony Pompliano, has his own like podcast show, whatever it is, on Twitter.
Okay.
But he and his team came, like, because you were talking about the banking app, he and his team came out with an AI software where I believe you just link up your different like investment accounts and other like portfolios and things like that. So it has all the data of like where your money is, how much of it you have, maybe your risk appetite, all that stuff. It gets all that data. And then you can just start asking investment questions of like when to sell, what to buy, who to buy. Like, can you look out for a company that has these parameters? Maybe give me a list of companies that have these parameters, these assets, this like type of data that I'm looking at. Like based on my investments, can you recommend others? Like there's an AI model out there now for this.
Right.
In a similar way of like giving you recommendations based on your existing portfolio. Well, like, this is like trending down right now. This is trending upwards, or there's talks maybe. I don't know if it goes to this extent. When it does, it's going to be a game changer. There's talks of like this company in the media. You might want to look into that. Selling before something happens or buying before something happens. Like that kind of stuff is happening now, which I think changes the game for investors, if you know how to use applications like that. And obviously it works well with like the more assets and the more diverse portfolio and actually giving it access to everything.
Like it takes a lot of the legwork out. You don't have to go take
Yeah.
time. Hey, research now. Oh, okay. Let me go look.
Yeah. Like I know the basics of finance. I was the worst class of my college career because I'm an accounting kid. So I to this day don't know what a basis point is, but I find investing so interesting, but I just can't do the mental legwork of like figuring out what's good and what's bad and why it's good, why it's bad, not wanting to take the risk of like investing in something to then know it's bad and learn the reasons why and then make a better investment next time. Like that's just not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But you can bet 200% that if this thing becomes available to me, I would try it out for like half a year, and just see what could happen with it. Like I'm going to go on record saying this is not the best way to live life, even though this podcast is going up and I believe in being transparent with people. I like playing a little bit with life. Like if you have a little bit to play with, like try out new things, figure out how things work. Like, if things don't go the way you planned, that's literally life. Like I like playing a little bit with life. So like if I spend half a year having an AI tell me what to do, that could be interesting. Can't spend a month doing it. It's not enough time. A year is really long. 5 years is very long. Maybe half a year to try it out. Play a little bit with it. So playing with life is very interesting.
Yeah.
At the right times, obviously. I would be hard pressed to do it when I do have a child because everything is for the child at that point, and I completely understand.
Yeah.
When parents get in that mode.
I have a wife.
Mm-hmm.
What also matters.
Mm-hmm. You know what? That's facts. That's actually fair. That's actually fair. Men, run things through your wife because I promise you, as closely as you've thought about it, she's gonna ask you questions you won't know the answer to.
Yep.
Or you'll be like, actually, that's actually, yeah. You know what? My idea was bad. Thank you. That happens every time.
AI can't solve those problems. That's all you, buddy.
That is on you. AI can't help your communication with your spouse, bro. You gotta do that yourself.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so true. Dude, Wonder, this has been a great conversation. This is actually I think it's our first conversation, besides like a hi and hellos.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But I mean, like I told you, bro, like everybody in the community I felt around, like it's always been like a, like you feel it and type
mhm.
thing. So
Yep.
like
No, I
with
appreciate
you,
you.
I feel like it's always been like, yeah, he's cool. Like
Yeah.
in school when I'm like I see people that I am feeling or not feeling, like I'll know, like, okay, he's
Right.
cool or nah, I won't talk to him.
Mhm. No, that's fair. That's fair. You're I'll take that. I'll take that. I wanna leave you with this last question, and I ask everybody on the podcast this. It's intentionally vague. What is one advice you'd give to somebody who's listening today?
One advice. Hmm. Well, um, a lot of people say this, but if you're gonna do something, do it intentionally and do it with love. Um, don't get lazy. There's somebody always rooting for you and believing in you. And yes, I'm talking about yourself. Uh,
Mm,
show love to yourself. Show up for yourself every day. We enter this world by ourselves, and we're gonna leave by ourselves. So
mhm.
who else to carry you but yourself? You got you. Believe in yourself. That, that's
Powerful.
that's advice I would like to give to y'all. So,
Powerful. Thank you. That was great. Where can people find you? If they wanna follow you, where can people find you?
so my IG handles Texas Wonder 214. But I'm also on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. My name is Marc Anthony Aradillas, so you can find me that way.
Nice. Awesome. Love that. Thank you for the conversation, brother.